Oh, welcome again to your favorite founders roulette. So we are back at the casino today with another special guest, a fantastic entrepreneur that I met when I lived in Amsterdam, and in fact is currently in Leiden, but normally is everywhere in the world. In fact, when I saw him a few minutes ago, I asked him, "Where are you?" Because I normally see him traveling everywhere. And normally, I mean, you all know that the Founders Roulette is completely unstructured because it's a random topic generation and discussion. In this case, it's even more unstructured because I invited Jorrit to this call, and he thought he was doing something else. So when he connected, he asked me, "What is the roulette?" And that's very nice. But Yori, thank you so much for joining. Tell us who you are and what you do. What is ChannelEngine in a minute, and then we spin.
Sure. Thanks for having me, Ricardo. I love surprises. I like new things. So let's get into this. My name is Jorrit Steinz. I'm the founder and CEO of ChannelEngine. And for the people that don't know, ChannelEngine is a software as a service platform that we call a marketplace integration and management suite. So brands and retailers and distributors are using our solution to sell on marketplaces internationally. So think of Amazon, Zalando, Shopee, Lazada. And at the moment, we have the biggest marketplace network in the world. So close to 1,000 marketplaces are integrated. That means a brand can use our solution, like Philips is using our solution to sell their products on all the marketplaces in Europe, in Southeast Asia, North America, and they're going to launch in Latin America as well. So we have a global network. That's also why I travel. We have a lot of people in the Netherlands, in Poland, but also in Germany, Singapore, Dubai, New York, and in Toronto, and then some people spread across the globe. But most importantly, we have a global network of partners with different marketplaces, fulfillment providers, agencies. So it's basically we're connecting the world, and that's what I like
You
in
you
this
are
business.
uh, you are you are basically, let's say, if I have an e-commerce, I make it simple. No, if I have a brand that sells products online, I could go through ChannelEngine and have all these products sold almost in every marketplace in the world. That's
Absolutely. Yeah.
correct. Okay.
Yes.
Nice, nice,
Correct.
fantastic, fantastic. That's a great explanation. Let me share my screen because everyone is now here
So we're
to
going into the
see
casino now.
the casino, and this is how it looks like. So you can say, and uh, everyone that comes here, when they say spin, they expect that they are able try to read while it spins and predict.
Impossible.
It's I tell you, it's impossible. So you can say spin when you want and stop when you want to stop it. And then I will take 10, 15, 20, 30 seconds to explain the topic because it may be not super intuitive at first glance. And
Yeah.
then it's the floor is yours.
Sounds good. Spin it
Oops.
and stop.
Oh, pretending to know. Very, very nice. This is quite uncommon. Um, Okay, this is very good. So I give you a little bit of a background, and then you decide what you want to talk about. There is one chapter. Uh, one of my favorite books about entrepreneurship is the hard things about the hard things,
Yeah.
and one chapter. I don't know if I remember exactly the title of the chapter, but it is like um, uh, driving your company when you have no idea where you're going. So, uh, and so I think as an entrepreneur, I found myself multiple times in that situation, and because uncertainty is something um, quite common, but obviously it's a situation, it's a sensation that only uh, entrepreneurs, but mainly startup, scale-up founders really live. So I'm curious to know if, how, when that happened, if and how and when that happened to you. Um, and but you can also, if you want, we can also look at it from another point of view, which is a lot more personal. And if you look around on LinkedIn, if you, I don't have social media, but let's say I can imagine if you look on Instagram or on other social media networks, you see people that are talking about what they are doing, how good they are at it, and how they're progressing, and how they're moving up things. And um, everyone really seems to know what to do and the direction what they're doing. But my sensation, and maybe it's because of myself, um, I believe that very few really know what they are doing, and they very few they understand what they're doing with their life. So I gave you two perspectives, one personal and one more company oriented. The floor is yours.
Yeah, I think with pretending to know, I think the more you know how little you know. And I think building a company, there's a lot of unknowns. So eventually you start with a vision, what do you want to achieve, or at least a solution you're building for a specific problem. But then that problem evolves over time. So I started with ChannelEngine because our previous company was selling on marketplaces and I needed a solution, a scalable solution. So the first idea was like, this was based in Europe. Let's do that in Europe and then maybe sell it to a US competitor. And then later on, over time, marketplace started maturing. I saw that brands were shifting to sell on marketplaces. And I said, well, if this is the case, they need a global platform. So eventually we started building that global platform and then you run into a lot of unknowns. So we went into Southeast Asia. Great. Let's connect a marketplace or a few marketplaces in Southeast Asia. But what we didn't know is that everything it runs around promotions and discounts and discount vouchers. So we went live without actually knowing that. So eventually, what you know is what is the direction you're going to. But then the world is changing continuously and you need to adjust. I see it like waves. You need to ride a wave instead of against it because you had that specific stubborn vision on it. And I will be the first one to say, I don't know, let's figure it out. So a lot of
Mm,
things you will not
mm,
know. And it's all about discovering as long as you know the general direction. And
mhm.
sometimes you know too early that something is going that direction. I started a company too early when I spoke to brands and they said, no, we're never going to do that. Lots of those brands are now a customer. So it was a
Okay.
bit too early. And now they know as well. So I think it's important to be clear and also pretending to know. I've seen it in many conversations on customer side, partner side, but also with colleagues in our teams. Don't pretend you know if you don't know. It's much
Mhm.
stronger if you say, I don't know, we'll figure it out and then come back to you. Instead of trying to make something up, which is not true.
I completely agree. And you mentioned it a couple of times that um, you started something and then things changed, and then you started to do something a little bit different, and then while you were doing something a little bit different, then the market or everything else changed, and then you changed again. No, I think maybe the secret of and the way you were telling this, it was so calm and relaxed, that it really gave me the sensation that you were comfortable in uncomfortable situations.
No,
Because
that's literally. Did I tell you that before? I always say be comfortable in the uncomfortable. You need to test yourself to be comfortable in the uncomfortable. And there's a great saying of FICAR CPTOs never waste a good crisis. So if something completely breaks down, servers are down, use that moment to be better. And I think I really believe in that part. And you need to be able to adjust over time and be relaxed in it. And of course, you can be a bit stressed, but then again, put everything into perspective because it's super important to build something great, but it's actually not that important
What,
in the global scheme of
have
things.
you ever experienced a channel engine a moment? What was the most dramatic, the worst moment? If you think about, that's that there was that day that I thought, we're not gonna make it, or things are really bad. Did you
Well,
have
we've
one?
multiple. we
One
can
that you
fill a
remember?
full podcast with that as well. Uh,
Well, because
I think
if I think about you from the outside, also I think
yeah.
about the broader scale NL community. I think you are seen as one of those entrepreneurs that is super solid, super strong, and that has never had a difficult moment in the
Oh,
business. But
of
it's not
course we've
true.
had. Of course
Tell
I've
me
had this.
one. Tell me
I'll
one.
give you a few because it's always good to talk about those.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'll give you one just before ChannelEngine. So previous company was an e-commerce company where we had our own warehouses, our own inventory. There was no drop shipping yet, and we almost ran out of money. Right, my co-founder was looking at a stack of invoices, and then like somebody called and they said, "Oh, let's check with the finance department." It's like, "Oh shit, we have to pay this one." So it was so close, and there wasn't any venture funding or stuff like that back then. And then we were doing the gift shop for TNT Post, and my co-founder called me when I was on holiday, and it was super super close. And he said, "We got a gift voucher order." So I was like, "Yes, so what?" He's like, "Well, it's 100K." So they got a 100K gift voucher order, and that's paid in advance for all the employees at TNT Post. So that really saved us. And we used that as inspiration because then we launched National Gift Voucher, the company purely with gift vouchers, and that Nationale Geschenkbon. And that worked really well. It,
I think this when you are in a situation like that for the first time and you think, it's the end or we're not gonna make it, and then you are able to get out of that situation, and
it
you
makes
make
you
it through.
resilient, right?
I
Uh,
think that's at least for me was a secret, to be comfortable in uncomfortable situations, because then
Absolutely.
you know, okay, we will figure it out.
And I'll give you a few more. So when we
Yeah.
raised our Series B, really started scaling super rapidly. So went from 100 employees to 50, including freelancers and stuff like that. And we scaled too fast in different regions, also with sales teams. So we had to dial that back a little bit, especially because we went into Asia, Australia, where local sellers weren't that interested in international selling. And our key differentiating factor is that global network. So we had to lay off a few people over there and
Okay.
recalibrate. And that's a super painful thing because you love the people you get on board. You like their personalities and they're doing a great job, but the situation wasn't there in that region and the region wasn't ready yet for us. So we scaled too fast. And that's super painful to do because you put in a lot of effort to get the right people with the right culture on board and they do all the effort and then you have to say goodbye. And I think that's the most painful thing a founder has to do. And I think all companies had to do it the last couple of years. And that's different than when somebody's underperforming. It's like that's a different sequence. So that was a painful learning for me as well. Um, and the other one is like I think every tech company experiences sometimes when there's a massive outage. And then people call, and even though you can't do something about it, but it's a cloud provider, that is a that can be painful the first time. But
Most of the times, these problems happen when you have to do that very important demo with a customer.
oh yeah, yeah,
So
that's always
something that was happening sometimes at Wonderflow. It was that we didn't really have a demo environment for a while. So when we were doing customer demos, so we were using the platform that was live in production, no, and with live data and everything. And so maybe I was preparing my presentation and my live demo on a data set, and then maybe that was updated just before. with new fresh data before my presentation. So I would end up, which is not an outage, but it was the way we structured things. And then I was presenting and showing a live demo to the customer. And in my mind, I had all those numbers and those statistics that I wanted to tell. And then I realized the data was updated and then I had a new set of numbers of statistics. So that I think, but this is something very small, very insignificant compared to the other stories that you
Yeah.
mentioned.
And when
And
you run a company in software IT, things go wrong, right? Also on the marketplace side, on the ERP side. So I think you need to be able to react fast and solve it. And then you become comfortable in the uncomfortable.
absolutely, I think
Right, let's spin it again.
it's really the secret. We don't have a lot of time, but we can do another spin whenever you want.
Yes, spin it. Stop.
Oh, I really wanted this one. I was reading this, and I so the roulette is completely unpredictable, but for some reasons I had a concentration of the same topics, of certain topics that happen to be the winning ones more than others, and this was really one that I wanted to read. So I just give you a very very quick intro. When I wrote down this, I wrote invest in people who overcome difficulties. And yesterday or a couple of days ago, I did one post on LinkedIn where I was, I wrote down a lot of my takeaways as a CEO, and I put them in a list of I think 30, 40, 50 now. Um, uh, I published I think number 8 or 9 the other day, and there was. Related to personality traits. So I was like, it takes decades to build a CV, to build a career, but it's what really matters to me is something that you don't have to develop during your career, but which is your personality. If you're well educated, if you have the right mindset, if you have grit. Um, and when I wrote this topic, transformative teammate, I was probably also referring to this, and I connected that with a question which was, and I'm very curious to know that from ChannelEngine, who has been the most transformative person you've worked with? It can be someone in your current company, it can be someone else that inspired you.
The most transformative person I worked with that are multiple. I think the most transformative and key to ChannelEngine is Christian de Ridder. He's still head of technology at ChannelEngine, and he came in my previous company part time next to school. Super
Okay.
bright developer, and ChannelEngine was actually a project for his final thesis. And he's still a key part of our company when nobody knows what to do anymore with very complex things, he will figure it out. And he's grown over the years as well throughout the company. And I think that's great to see. So we've got multiple people in the team that work with me throughout multiple companies. So not only ChannelEngine is 11 years old, um, but they've been with me for 19 years and 18 years and
Wow.
16. So there's a core group of people that also are still growing, and I see them grow over time on their skill, but also as a person. So that's great to see coming from internship to also getting babies, and then over time growing throughout these companies.
For sure, I believe that he is extremely talented and knowledgeable by now, and a super strong technological tech person. Um, what are the other characteristics that he has that you think made him so important for the company? It cannot be just he's extremely knowledgeable from a tech standpoint. It must be something else, no?
Yeah. So his challenge is that he actually can do everything, and in the beginning during growth, he wanted to do everything as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he can do a lot of things. So I think his characteristics is doing complex things, making very complex things, breaking it down to something simple, and being able to explain it and troubleshoot it. And I think that's his core strength.
But he does that as an individual, or he as a team? He teaches others how to do that as well.
Both,
Both.
both.
Wh- so I had the privilege of also having a fantastic tech co-founder, Giovanni, and like many um, s- prominent tech professionals, his, let's say, characteristics were very much unbalanced, meaning that he was extremely strong on a technical standpoint, but maybe he wasn't the strongest communicator, or he wasn't the strongest team leader. And of course he tried to build his own way on that side of life, of management,
Yeah, you
during the.
cannot do everything.
Mhm.
You can do all these different roles as a person if you only focus on that. And I think especially if you can go so deep into technology uh, and you have so many other threats if the team is too big, then it just takes away a lot of brain power and energy. So narrowing it down a little bit is super good. So he's managing the tech leads and the security and the hard stuff, which is great. And that's also, I think, while building companies, maybe nice bridge to. It's super important to see not only where you think you cannot do that great a job, but also where's your flow, what is your superpower, and then try to hire people around you to work with that can complement you. Right. So if I look at myself, I'm good at initiating things, seeing where it's going, and starting projects. Less good at really keeping that cadence and building it into the organization. So we've got great people around us in the management team that can do this really well. So important to know your strength and also your pitfalls, and make sure you hire people around you that where their strength is basically covering for your pitfalls. And that's the
How
advantage of being a
that's
CEO.
that is very interesting. How did you realize that you were just very, very good at a few things, and how did you understand that you were instead not very good at other things? For
Oh,
example, at.
that's easy. Then I've been doing this for 23 years now. So the first 10 to 15 years, you make all the mistakes you can,
Okay,
and then you learn it the hard way because the person I was back then in my 20s would never listen to a person I am right now. So
okay,
somehow you have to learn it yourself. But also I speak to other entrepreneurs. I read a lot. I listen to a lot of podcasts.
okay.
And I think it's important to know your core strengths. So also personality profiling, and then you're like, oh yeah, well that makes sense if I read this. Like what
Yeah.
16personalities.com, great website, and not everything will fit, but the majority of the trend is there. So then you read your own manual and it's like, well, that kind of makes sense.
Okay.
So we've
And
done these sessions also with other employees as well.
when you hire someone with that is gonna be complementary to you from a professional standpoint, uh, are there some personality traits? Are there some other characteristics that you look for when you hire people to make sure that you hire the right person that is gonna be complementary to you, but also is gonna be someone that fits with you well?
Yeah. Yeah. So for me, when hiring people, I love having people on board that are genuine and authentic. So typically not for that title or for the ego. They truly want to work with a great team with a great energy and are driven to build something
Yeah.
together. So the together for me is super important. One of our core values is also it's we not I, no egos, no politics. Making sure you do that together as a team, help others grow as well within the company, and that's what you will see with other people within ChannelEngine. You need to be able to relate to others. You need to be able to keep on learning. So
Uh,
growth mindset is super important, and that means you also need some healthy dose of self-reflection. And what I also look for is people that I speak to on their job. They need to have a passion for it. So if you're a developer, you typically develop because you love it. Because otherwise you're not going to be on the cutting edge.
I understand. Do you have do you have I don't know, a question that you ask, or how, because I mean, I completely agree with you. You know, those traits are fundamental, but it is also very, very difficult to, for me at least, it has been very difficult to understand if candidates, people then I would hire, they were exactly like this during the interviews, no, and at the beginning, especially sales people, even if they're bad, they during the interview they can seem extremely good.
Yeah,
So
I think it's important to get to see the real person behind that facade. So if somebody is really trying to sell themselves and try to touch upon what do they love to do, can be their hobby. Sometimes I use a question. Sometimes you feel it automatically, intuitively, if somebody's genuine in that conversation and they ask questions and they're truly interested in our company as well. But one powerful question in an interview can be surprising as well. Somewhere towards the end, I ask, what has had the most impact on your life in general? And that means they have to step back and think. And that can be, oh, the birth of my kid or this and that happened. And if they come with something super insignificant, uh, typically you don't see that real person. And as soon as you ask that question, that sort of mask falls and you see the real person behind it. And that can be very touching stories as well. I've had someone that came from Africa, went somewhere else, and they really want to take care of their family and be proud of that and stuff like that. So it's really a really powerful question to do that. So looking
very
for the real person behind that professional.
super, super cool. Thank you so much for sharing. And maybe I you can borrow my founder's roulette and you spin it in front of them, and they have to answer personal questions.
Oh,
And that's
that would be fun.
fantastic, Jorit. It was a real pleasure, and I think it's gonna be super, super interesting for our audience, and also for people that work at Channel Engine. That I think the way you answered these unscripted questions was fantastic, and they will like you even more. So thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope one day, if you want, you can come back to the casino and spin it again.
Happy to do so. Thanks a lot, Ricardo.
Ciao, thank you. Ciao.
Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.